Hello WP listeners. Today marks the launch of WPMU Dev's new hosting service, and we thought it would be cool to make a special bonus episode about it. A couple quick notes before we jump into the show. First, I want to thank everyone who has listened to, shared, and reviewed Hello WP. We've been completely floored by the response so far. So, from the bottom of our hearts, genuinely, honestly, for reals, thank you. When we started making this podcast, we wanted it to be helpful and valuable to the existing WordPress community, but still intriguing and informative to those outside of it. So, on that note, I'm looking forward to learning more and reporting more on WordPress in another season. All right, now back to this bonus episode. Like I said a little earlier, this one focuses solely on WPMU Dev and our new hosting service. So, full disclosure, if you're expecting the journalistic take that I normally try to get on all things WordPress hosting, that's not exactly what you'll hear. Instead, I'll dig deep into what makes our hosting different and who it'll benefit by speaking to its masterminds and an early adopter. So, let's do this. Welcome to Hello WP, a podcast that reminds you what it's like to be a new WordPress user. I'm Micah, and in just a little while, you'll hear my brother and co-host, Josh. Recently, I got a call from a friend asking for some help with her first WordPress site. She had purchased a theme and found a host that would help move the content on her Squarespace site to her new WordPress install. She called in a bit of a panic saying, I just bought a template, which is new user talk for theme, by the way, and now they're asking me to pay a monthly fee. I thought WordPress was free. I asked her which host she was using, and she would say, it's on WordPress. Now, I'd like to pause to acknowledge this moment. Me, the guy who on this show has been the quote-unquote new WordPress user, is now getting calls to answer WordPress questions. Look at me, huh? The funny thing is, this call was a great reminder for me. I remember buying my first domain and setting up my first hosting account and trying to figure out how to install WordPress and asking all the same questions my friend was asking me. But at the same time, when getting started, I was way more concerned with understanding what hosting was and why I had to pay for it than the details of it all. I didn't know to ask questions like, what's included in my hosting service? Or is it secure? Is it fast? Is it shared, headless, stateless, dedicated, or managed? So if you're listening to this as a brand new user, let's get the what's a host and why do I need one questions out of the way now so we can talk deets for the rest of this episode. A web host is a business that provides all the tools and technologies needed to make your website available on the internet. They oversee the server that your site's files are stored on. And you need a host because WordPress is only the framework in which your site is built and managed in. So WordPress's code, all your media files, blog posts, and pages are stored on your host's server. Perfect. Check and check. Now we can focus on the ingredients, the features, the specifics of hosting. And we'll do that by looking at what we at WPMU Dev believe quality hosting looks like.
Did you get a little sun while you were on your vacation?
Yeah, I think so. Do I look red?
You look a little red, but was it on, you were on a cruise, right?
No, this was, yesterday, we just went one night camping out in the hill country.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'll fix it in post. While WPMU Dev's consumer hosting service is brand new, we're actually far from being newcomers. According to our Chief Business Officer, Ronnie Burt, this project has been years in the making. I want to hear the origin story of WPMU Dev's hosting. Where did it begin? How long did it take? All the goods.
Yeah, well, we've been kicking around the idea of some sort of hosting like what we've built for a long time, for many years. We've been hosting enterprise and multi-sites and for universities, governments, things like that since before WPMU Dev existed as a company. So hosting in and of itself isn't new to us, but this is a whole different animal. And I think, even after years of kind of just kicking it around and not really sure if we want to go that route, we knew it was a lot of work, that sort of thing. I think it was about 2 years ago, so it would have been February, March of 2016. did a WPMU Dev member survey, and over again in those survey results was hosting. Like, why are you guys not doing hosting? And then even if the member wasn't saying we should do hosting, the problems and things that we were hearing about that members wanted us to solve, we were like, well, it would be so much easier for us to solve that for you. Security, speed, all these other things, if we're hosting. So from there, that kind of kickstarted even more, the team focusing around, how are we going to kind of architect this out? What are we going to do? And I think really the first thing that we did was collaboratively, James, myself, some others, we kind of wrote what would an announcement post look like for if we could design the hosting of our dreams for our members, what would that marketing announcement post look like? And I actually came across it recently. We wrote it 2 years ago. And I think that our actual announcement post here for this launch is going to be about 90% what we wrote 2 years ago, which is pretty cool.
Wow, that's awesome. Here is our cloud architect and CTO, Aaron Edwards. You might remember him from our Hello Hackers episode. What are some of the things that really make our hosting stand out?
Well, I think first off, like most hosts, even most managed WP hosts, it's on shared architecture. So you have shared resources, bunch of sites on the same server, basically. Sometimes they're segmented in different ways to provide more security, but essentially it's shared, and if an attack or something happens on one site, it can affect the performance of the other sites on that same server. And so we kind of basically started from scratch and said, we're going to give everyone dedicated virtual machine and, but fully manage it, not something that you have to manage yourself and worry about all the package updates and installing software and all this complicated things, especially when it comes to security and some of the really nitty gritty technical stuff to make WordPress run fast and performant. So that's one of the aspects. Other ones, it's just kind of utilizing our years of experience, hosting WordPress, mostly for enterprise, so really large sites. We started out with like campus and universities and different things like that. So we host really big clusters and really giant multi-site installs. So kind of applying some of that experience and expertise there to this smaller, more affordable environment that people can get started with, so that's exciting. Also, a lot of people already use all our like plugin suite and a lot of our services. And so that's really exciting, especially for our huge member base that we already have. It's really exciting for them because all the stuff they're already using, it ties in more seamlessly with our system. For example, Automate, which is a service that automates updates of your plugins and WordPress core and themes and things like that. We have a ton of people using that on our hub. And that would do a thing, would integrate with our snapshot plugin to create a backup before it does the updates. But like snapshot plugin, using that on another host, it can be really resource heavy. Depending on the size of your site, it can take a long time to create that backup. But like in our hosting, since we have full server access, we can take our backups take, like 30 seconds or less.
Right. And our other services have actually seen a massive increase, right? I mean, you look at by jumping in where we're at, this has also opened up the door for CDN services, right? For Hummingbird, for Smush, the Smush CDN, that unlocked image resizing and WebP next gen support for images and the delivery of that stuff. And so these are things that have only come about because we decided to go down the hosting train, right?
Yeah, and also like Hummingbird and Defender are performance and security plugins. Like a lot of the things that they have you implement to like improve speed or improve security, like those require server configuration changes. And we did our best to automate that when possible, or to give them the proper rules so they can contact their host and try to get their host to do that. But I mean, that's a whole kind of complicated process. Like on our hosting, all those rules are already installed by default. It's nothing
Nice.
you have to do. Like as soon as you log into your brand new created site, it says, oh, all these hardening steps are already done, for your security, your performance, caching, that kind of stuff. So.
One of the questions I had was throughout the development process, what would you say were some of the biggest obstacles or kind of the problems that you guys ran into that you had to solve?
A lot. We actually went forward the first 6 months. We worked on a completely different architecture. And we worked on that. We kind of went all in on that and got only so far, but we were just running into so many niggling issues that we didn't expect to see coming, whether it's things with performance, whether it's all these different things. So eventually we said, we're not making progress fast enough. Even if this was the direction that we thought we should go, it's not working. And so we kind of went halfway through and we completely switched it all over.
Yeah, you heard that correctly. We basically had to build our hosting twice.
Part of what took us 2 years is we spent the first year really building it off of AWS, Amazon Web Services. That's historically what our enterprise campus press services have been built on. That's what our in-house expertise was on. And for a good year, we gave that a go, and we were close, but we were always running into just small problems here and there. We definitely couldn't get it at a price point that we felt comfortable with in terms of what we wanted to be able to provide. So we have switched to where the entire infrastructure is off of DigitalOcean.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that relationship.
Quite honestly, we're not hiding anything. It is the same. You can go to DigitalOcean.com and get a droplet. It's going to be very similar to basically a droplet of what you would get through our service, because that's what it is. We've built this on top of DigitalOcean droplets. Ours is coming preloaded with WordPress and kind of optimized for WordPress. It's coming with Defender and Smush and Hummingbird and things like that built in and optimized directly. And then what you don't get there, if you go that route through them and not through us, the automated managed backups that we do and the staging environment that you get and things like that, that's not default out of the box DigitalOcean. So that's the value add that we would bring there. But they've been great to work with and have been really good for allowing us to build what we wanted to build and give a really high quality service and product to the members.
So how high quality are we talking? What kind of victories have our beta users experienced while trying our new digs? Well, I did some digging of my own and was able to get in touch with someone who has been actively tinkering with our hosting. Say hello to Jason, aka Jack, aka Jote. The first question I had was just how long you've been a WPMU Dev member.
I would have to say it's probably about 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
I initially signed up for a client.
Cool.
And then decided that I wanted to use it for myself.
Yeah.
So I created a new account, which is why I've got the alias.
So was hosting with WPMU Dev something that you had hoped for before it was announced, or was it kind of a surprise?
I had actually thought about it in the past, but it was when I looked at it, because it wasn't this level of hosting.
Yeah.
It was all pretty much enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw those prices and I was like, that's never going to happen. 1 month of enterprise service is more than my typical client pays for a website.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of them, these are people that just have me throw together a quick blog or it's pretty much sole proprietors, one-person businesses, startup authors.
Yeah. So do you kind of do ongoing maintenance as well?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I've been experimenting with the hub for that.
Yeah. Okay.
And but again, right now the biggest problem is the compatibility issue with other hosts.
Okay.
For the backup.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
So it's still having to manually go to a few sites, but I so far with my sites that are in the 3 accounts that we get with the account, I haven't had any problems using the hub to manage them, and so I keep experimenting with it. And I'm one of those people that I'm really particular, so I do like the snapshot of the homepage, but I still end up going and double checking.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm getting a lot more comfortable with the hub interface for that.
Cool. That's great to hear. So are you happy with the hosting, or do you have any areas that you would suggest some upgrades and some changes?
Well, for me, the hosting is pretty much ideal.
Cool.
I have one regular WordPress install and 2 multi-site installs. Both of them, I use folders instead of subdomains because I'm not running for clients. These are my sites.
Okay.
And then I have a few domains mapped on it, and that process was just incredibly easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm more or less just literally migrated the site over, popped in the new IP address in domain mapping plugin,
Yeah.
and everything was pretty much good to go. I did a pingdom test on the original location on SiteGround,
Yeah.
and then I did it after I migrated to WPMU Dev, and I lost about 4 seconds in load time.
Wow.
Admittedly, my website's not properly optimized, but they say mechanics drive the worst cars.
Yeah. Right. Sure. That makes sense. Wow. That's amazing. 4 seconds cut off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
In my short time at WPMU Dev, I've learned that we're strong-willed, at times maybe to our own detriment. But maybe our stubborn nature is to blame for our success. And no, I'm not calling James Farmer, my boss and our CEO, stubborn. That would be silly. Our strong-willed nature is reflected in the hard work of our team of over 100 people. It's seen in our undying commitment to the WordPress project, and it shapes our products and services. Why did we launch a hosting service in an already crowded space? Well, first of all, because we're stubborn. And second, because we believe that quality hosting plays as critical of a role in building a fast and secure site as any other step in the web development process. We know that plugins are not always the best solution. And if we want to continue providing the tools folks need to optimize, secure, and maintain their sites, we needed to bring our years of enterprise hosting experience to the masses. So we took our time building and rebuilding an infrastructure that we'd be proud to offer the WordPress community. But while this is the end of the hosting beta tag, it's really just the beginning of the road for this service. And thanks to our incredible team, users, and members, the map is unraveling before our eyes. And from what I can see, the future is very bright. Is there anything else that you want to add before we go?
Yeah, I mean, just that, this is 2 years worth of good work that we're, finally releasing to the world, but it's also really just the beginning. So much that we want to build, so much that we want to do with this service and hosting in general and everything that we offer, to be that best tool for agencies, for freelancers, for just your weekend warrior site builders, whoever it may be. I think we got a lot of good things up our sleeves.
All right, as if this entire episode wasn't enough of a sales pitch, I've got one more proposition for you. If what you've heard about our hosting has intrigued you at all, give our membership a go. We're giving you 30 days free if you click the link in the description. You'll be able to host 3 sites for free, get access to all of our plugins, and 24/7 support on all things WordPress. Hello WP is a podcast by WPMU Dev. It's produced by me, Micah Daly, and Josh Daly. I did the editing and original score for this episode. Our super design team, Julian, Yudi, and Osh, created our show's art. Josh filmed this entire episode.
Yeah, I did.
Thanks Ronnie, Mike, Aaron, and Jason for joining me on this bonus episode. And, of course, a huge congratulations to the entire team who worked so hard on building our hosting. You're all superheroes in my book. Thanks for listening, everyone. Now go, click, or tap the link in the description. You don't want to miss this.